live stream as usual. So if you chime in, thank you so much. If you miss it, you can catch it on the replay. And if you like conversations like this, hit the subscribe button. So I've been busy all day, haven't done any blogging or anything like that. I've been rearranging some stuff, my work area, my home office. I'm a remote mom, so, you know, I got that work to life balance. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. I am so grateful for it. But just trying to rearrange stuff in my house, but and clean up my kids' room. That place gives me anxiety. But anyways, I happened to catch this video from O'Shea Duke Jackson on the Celebrity Junk channel. And he is talking about, the title of it is At 50 Cent Does the Unthinkable to Diddy by Doing This. Now, I'm not really sure how O'Shea is framing this, but there was a couple of things that stood out to me about this video that he included. Free Palestine. I pray that everyone is free in this world one day. You know, we got to get over these supremacists. They're satanic and they're out here killing folks. They belong to their father, the devil. These are not God's people. So, you know, we're going to keep our prayers up for everybody in the world. Palestine, Lebanon, Africa. There's a lot of unrest in the world today. And, you know, I think that a lot of times people, you know, they're very passionate about these things that they go on, and I think that people feel hopeless, they feel helpless. But you know, keeping those people in your thoughts and prayers is pretty much all the control that we have. And so that's what we want to do, is just keep everybody who are victims of war and civil unrest in our prayers, because here's the thing, we cannot be too comfortable. I'm an American. I don't ever feel too comfortable in this America, because I know that one day a lot of these atrocities that we see afar is going to hit this homeland, right? And we're going to have to rely on God. So, you know, that's my position on that. But this blog is not about that. This is about something else, because you know this system is collapsing, folks. The system is collapsing, all of it, all of the sectors, all of the industries. You see the collapse. Satan's world is collapsing. All right. And with that being said, you see a lot of people who are kind of being set up in these collapse. And I'm gonna say it again. I don't think that Diddy is a saint. I think he is a Satanist. I think that he deserves, you know, anything that happens to him, just because he has made it his business to screw over people and be such a satanic person. With that being said, though, a lot of people were talking about this Diddy thing. They were like, oh, this Cassie thing came out of nowhere. And Cassie was kind of like the snowball effect to all the other stuff coming out about Diddy. Now, mind you, I think that everybody can agree that all this stuff that Diddy has been, quote, getting away with all these years, the man hasn't really been getting away with these things. This man has just been very protected. He has been compliant in a satanic machine. He's been playing ball, right? But this guy is going to tell us something interesting, and just listen to what he's saying, because it's going to kind of give you an idea of the point where Diddy stopped playing ball. All right. So just listen to this, and I'll break through a couple of times just to kind of put my perspective on what this guy is saying. But he's saying some really interesting stuff.
Has garnered a lot of enemies over the past few months, the biggest being the United States government and its new criminal investigation against him. But his biggest enemy came in May of 2023 when he filed a multi-billion-dollar lawsuit against the alcoholic beverage company Diageo.
Okay, I did not know. They must have had this lawsuit that Diddy filed against this alcohol company under wraps, because I really didn't hear too much about Diddy being in a lawsuit with a major alcohol beverage company.
Why would Puff file a multi-billion-dollar lawsuit against them? He claimed that they were engaging in racist practices. Before we get into the weeds of this lawsuit, let's talk about the company first. Diageo is the world's largest premium alcoholic beverage company
Fair
with
usage.
a net worth of $74 billion, making it the 254th most valuable company on the planet.
All right, so Diddy's in bed with some big names here, right? Diddy is not just a rap mogul. This man is a businessman. All right. He's a businessman, right? Despite what you want to say about that wicked ass man, he was a very smart businessman. He wouldn't have survived in this industry and in this satanic machine for as long as he has without having some kind of business sense. All right.
Some of the key shareholders, Vanguard and BlackRock.
So he's not making punk deals. He's not doing no small time stuff.
His wallet and spent $42 million on Diageo stock.
So you got Warren Buffett putting in on this company.
Well,
let me let this commercial go through. So, one thing you want to say about Diddy, this dude was beyond the music industry. He was making deals with very prominent companies. I mean, you're talking about companies that were owned by some very other powerful conglomerates. So Diddy was very powerful in his own right, and you can kind of understand why those who were rolling with Diddy, they either wanted to be on the train of his success, or, they were afraid. I would be afraid of a dude like this, to be honest with you. I wouldn't roll with nobody like Diddy. I couldn't trust him.
Puff, what other liquor brands do they own? Johnny Walker, Smirnoff, Bailey's, Captain Morgan, to name a few. And in 2017,
so this dude is going through the overview of how big this alcohol distributor company is. He's letting people know that this was not some punk distributor that Diddy was in bed with. And this is going to be important because this is the company that Diddy was suing.
Casamigos. Those last two is where Puff has an issue. In 2007, Diageo was losing $40 million a year on a brand they had called Ciroc. So they contact Puff because they seen that he had a major influence in the lifestyle world. So Puffy signs on to promote Ciroc. Now the deal was he would just get a sponsorship fee for promoting the brand. He didn't have any ownership in it. So
Ciroc is doing bad. They look at Puff. He got a lot of influence. They're like, bro, can you push this brand, right? Look at what Puff did to Ciroc. Now, y'all got to get his brother his flowers, okay? I'm not talking about all the evil, wicked stuff right now. I'm talking about just listen to what he did with Ciroc.
Sort of like the influencer deals that you would see here, where a company will contact the influencer and pay them a flat fee to promote a product. Same thing, way more money. Puffy sets out on this unprecedented advertising campaign.
He started putting in the work
completely around and makes Ciroc a household name and one of the most popular vodkas in the world. But he has no ownership in it.
No ownership. He's just promoting
Ciroc variants: peach, apple, coconut. They don't give him any ownership in the unflavored Ciroc, but what they do tell him is you can get X amount of dollars off each case of flavored Ciroc that ships.
Okay, so in this particular deal that they're trying to make with Diddy, they're almost trying to give him the influencers package, right? Where you just promote this, right? You don't have any ownership in this product, right? But we will pay you for your promotions, right? This is how a lot of influencers make their money when they're promoting these products, right? And so then they started coming out with these flavored Cirocs. Now, mind you, Puff is still not, he has no ownership in Ciroc at all. He is just acting as an influencer and getting paid. But let's look at what his influence did for this brand.
That's when you see Diddy starting to heavily promote flavored Ciroc bottles and why he was doing
it. In the work.
What Diageo didn't see coming is having to pay him $60 million a year off that deal.
So this is where this company really didn't estimate that Puff would put in the work like he did, and he would actually turn that brand around, and they would have to pay him as much as they did every year. I don't think they thought Puff was going to put in the work like that. I think they probably thought maybe he'll give us a little increase, right? But no, Puff was putting in the work.
Before Diageo started their partnership with Diddy, they were shipping 40,000 cases of Ciroc a year. 10 years later, with Puff being the face of Ciroc and promoting it, they were shipping 2.6 million cases.
You go from shipping 40,000 cases to 2.6 million cases because of this particular influencer. And they had a problem with having to pay him for as much money as they did because he was putting in the work to get that brand back on top. He turned the brand around.
Keep in mind, Puffy is a boss, not an influencer.
He's a boss, not an
Puff
influencer.
started to see that tequila was coming the popular drink that people want.
If you have a
So bro is gonna go into, I'm trying to skip these commercials for y'all. Bro is gonna go into how tequila, like he's on the block, he's on the streets, he hear the streets talking, so he knows what the streets want, right? So now Puff is noticing that there's a trend between the vodka to the tequila trend.
Popular drink that people wanted. So Puff buys the tequila brand De Leon. And Diageo, the company that he has made billions, is the distributor of it. Unbeknownst to Puff, they had also went and bought Don Julio and Casamigos from George Clooney. Neither company had made them a dime in the past 10 years. And then what Diageo did really pissed off Puff. First, we got to talk about supply and demand. If a company controls your supply and demand, they can determine your financial future. If they only make a small supply of your product and ship it to a small number of locations where people can buy it, you're only going to have a few buyers. Diddy 50% of De Leon and Diageo owned the other 50%, and Diageo was responsible for supply and distribution. Unlike Ciroc, where Diddy didn't have any ownership, he owned 50% of De Leon. What does that mean? Out of billions of dollars that Puffy had made selling Ciroc, they only had to give him a few hundred million. They made over 70 billion. But because
now just listen to these though, right? They only had to give him a couple of 100 million, but they made 70 billion off of his work. He put in the legwork. They were losing money off of these brands until Diddy came on board and turned the brand around, right? So Diddy went out and bought De Leon, right? And it's so funny because all I can think about with De Leon is Young Miami. Like she was a cheerleader for De Leon. I don't even think I ever heard another broad say De Leon but Young Miami, right? She was totally the De Leon girl for Diddy. But this is a very interesting thing because unlike Ciroc, he had no ownership. He was playing the social media influencer role. They were paying him because he was putting in so much money. I don't think they were expecting that he was going to flip that brand the way that he did. So I don't think they were expecting to come up off that type of money, but he was making the money. So it's like fair is fair. This is good business, right? Right. So, but Diddy goes and buy De Leon, right? But what pisses Diddy off is that y'all tripping over giving me these little millions a year, but you dropped George Clooney $1 billion for these two brands that aren't even doing with the brands that I'm doing for you. You know, they're not turning out the same numbers, right? So Diddy was pissed because obviously, you know, I don't want to cry everything is racism, but obviously there was something going on where they felt that George Clooney was valuable enough to get what he got in his deal, but they sent up their nickel and dime Diddy.
Puff owned half of De Leon, they were going to have to split those billions with him. They resented paying Puff the few hundred millions for Ciroc. Now it was looking like they was going to have.
And you know, this is the ungratefulness about some of these users because this man turned the brand around and yet you were resentful for actually giving him his flowers for doing that. Crazy.
Split the billions
Greedy
with
as
him
hell.
down the middle. Remember, he took Ciroc from shipping 40,000 cases a year to 2.6 million.
He turned the brand
Even
around,
if he got
y'all.
close to doing for De Leon what he was doing for Ciroc, they were going to have to cut a huge check. De Leon launches and Puffy goes into full throttle sales.
He went all in, okay? Say what you want to say about Puff, all right? The dude is evil, he's wicked, he's conniving, he's all those things, right? But let's look at some of these deals and these business dealings that this dude was involved with. He was a smart, wicked man, all right? He was a smart, wicked man. He understood where he could get his most money. If I go buy this brand, you be my distributor, right? As opposed to me just getting nickel and dime. Now I'm getting 50-50 half of everything. So if y'all start making billions off of my effort, guess what? I'm getting half I'm getting half. And they did not like that. They did not want to pay that man the half, it seems like.
What he was doing for Ciroc, but on steroids. Sales start to come in.
Listen to what this brother said. Puff did the same thing he did for Deleon that he was doing for Ciroc, but on steroids, meaning that Puff was all in on Deleon.
Like what he was doing for Ciroc, but on steroids. Sales start to come in and they are abysmal. Diageo only made a small amount of De Leon and only shipped it to certain locations. What locations you talking about, comrade? The urban landscape. And Diageo stopped signing off on advertising budgets.
Okay, now think about this, right? If they're sending Deleon to the urban landscapes, lots of people are not going to be buying Deleon from the urban landscapes. They just won't unless they really got money. Most people from the urban landscapes are not buying that high class of liquor, right? Right? So for them to distribute his product to these places where they know nobody's going to really buy it, right? It's like almost like they're trying to sabotage his brand.
So Diddy.
Hold on, y'all. We got a commercial. Let it run through. And I'm sorry, y'all. I'm not really into the comments because I'm trying to just, so y'all talk among yourselves. So I'm going to get them in a second. But I thought this was really interesting, this guy's assessment of Diddy, because, you know, here's the thing. The dude could be totally guilty of every single thing that they're piling up against dude, right? But there's also some in between the lines that we got to look at to say, you know, some of this is giving setup. Some of this is giving setup. I'm not saying bro is innocent of anything. He's probably wicked as hell. Did some Patrick Bateman stuff to some folks, but let's be real.
To play their role in the contract of making Deleon a success. This brings us to the agave plant. Agave plants are the primary ingredients in making tequila, and they are grown in Mexico. So he decides to send his people to Mexico to see how many agave plants Diageo had planted.
So this man is smart, okay? I don't care what you think about Puff. This man is smart. He knows that there's something wrong with this deal. There's something wrong with this deal. He sends some of his people down to Mexico to see, okay, how many agave plants for my liquor is being planted, right? He's smart enough to know something's not right here. I
send my people down to Mexico, and this is just to tell you what the fight is about. They went down to Mexico, and when they got down there, they found out that there was 0 agave planted for Deleon. So there was no plan for us to be successful. There was no equal treatment. The other brands, they had agave planted.
And most of the agave that was planted for Casamigos, whom Diageo had just gave George Clooney $1 billion. Puff is pissed, and he files his lawsuit citing discrimination and breach of contract. This is where it gets really interesting, but I want to recap the company that Diddy is going up against. Diageo is the 254th most valuable company
Very
on the
powerful
planet,
company.
worth $74 billion. Its 2 main investors are BlackRock and Vanguard, 2 of the most powerful, richest companies on the planet. BlackRock and Vanguard together basically own the planet Earth. Pay close attention to this timeline. May of 2023, Puffy files his lawsuit. In June of 2003, Diageo gives a public response. They say that Diddy is trying to extract billions of dollars from the company, and his inflammatory rhetoric about racism is going to cast a bad shadow on the company. Then they filed a motion citing a part of Puff contract that said that this issue should be handled in private arbitration.
Okay, so now they're basically trying to set it up for Puff breach this contract by, I guess, coming out publicly, filing a lawsuit, whatever it was, public lawsuit. It was supposed to be private arbitration, which most of those deals are
for the claims of
private
racism,
arbitration.
This was just a standard business disagreement. In September, the judge presiding over that case denied that motion and set it for trial and made the trial.
Okay, so this is the juicy fruit part, y'all. So this huge company filed a motion and a judge denied the motion, set it for trial, but not just a trial, a public trial, right? So Puff was going to essentially be going against this huge company in a public trial, and the premise of his accusation is that they were setting me up to fail, and he believed that there was racism involved with the way that they treated that agreement with him.
Open to the public. Remember, this is September. 1 month later, Cassie files her lawsuit. And the snowball that is currently the trials of Diddy started. Cassie files her lawsuit November 2003. January 2004, Puffy's lawsuit with
2024.
Diageo gets resolved and they release a joint statement. Sean Combs and Diageo no longer have any business dealing.
And it's funny because when I heard that Diageo was separating from Puff, I literally thought it was in connection with the Cassie thing. I had no idea that there was some private or public lawsuit that was going on between Puff and this company. I just thought that this was just a snowball effect. Everybody saw the Cassie video, and now everybody's trying to back away from Puff. But that was definitely not the case. They were backing out of their agreement, their deal with Puff, because obviously it had been breached and there was a settlement. It's interesting because there's so many things to unpack with this, right? And again, Diddy is a monster. He did horrible things. He was part of a satanic machine. But we got to kind of look at, this satanic machine is taking his brother down. They are taking his overzealous self down because maybe Diddy thought that he was too powerful. Maybe he thought that he was so powerful, maybe so protected that some of these machines that had raised him, that he could go up against them, and they're showing through their coordination that no, we can hit you all kinds of ways and take your ass out. So what do you guys think? Let me get to some of these comments. How much money you come to say? I don't know. Cassie is not a victim. Here's the thing. She's a victim of her own decisions, in my opinion. That's all I can say to that. A lot of these people are victims of their own decisions and their glory whoreness and them wanting to be around a monster like this, right? Sometimes the popular kids aren't the best ones to be around because they're evil and they do evil things and they will get you into evil things. So, that's that. Cassie is not a victim, in my opinion. Yeah, a lot of people were saying that Cassie was a setup, and that Cassie is not really innocent either. You know, um, I think that, Cassie is definitely a scorned woman. I think that Cassie is probably bitter too because most of her prime was spent with Diddy. And he did not give her the career that she thought that she was going to have hanging on a coattail of Puff Daddy. I mean, she was basically like his arm piece. She did not have a real flourishing career after she got with that man. And that's sad. But again, we all have free will. We all have free choice, right? I've seen several pictures and Instagram where this girl was just living a life and all this stuff. I wouldn't, maybe he was making her prison very luxurious for her. I don't know. But she was with that man for 10 years. 10 years. 10 years. And he wasn't even her husband. That wasn't even her husband. It wasn't even her husband. So, this is crazy. I thought this was an interesting thing because a lot of people are saying Diddy pissed somebody off. All of this stuff coming out of the woodwork with Diddy, he must have pissed somebody off. And now we're kind of seeing the layers of some folks that he pissed off. It's not even just a matter of Diddy might got collateral on people. I think that he pissed the wrong people off. But I think with all this raiding, because think about it. You're talking about the whole Cassie thing snowballs into them raiding him, and they're looking for this collateral on these famous people. So I think what they are like afraid of is we're taking this guy down, but he got enough information on a lot of important people. He got collateral. So now we got to shake up everybody he knows, shake him up, shake all his people up just to see what he got. Because again, he was acting as an industry Jeffrey Epstein. So This is crazy. This is crazy. 10 years is max for a female to getting catered and pampered 24/7. Even the boss would turn on you. I think she was scheming to turn on him. I think she was definitely scheming to turn on him. I think she was scheming to turn on him. But again, some of these charges that they are piling up, and even the news media now, they're being very careful about their word choice because they can't say anything definitive. I mean, I keep hearing stories about these private parties where people were having sex, and I'm like, so what? I mean, if these people want to go out to these parties fornicating and having doing all that, there's nothing illegal about that unless there was some type of, you know, abuse going on that participants weren't aware of, right? But I'm not seeing a whole lot of stuff coming out about this right now outside of he had wild sex parties, all these celebrities were attending. Everybody knew that Diddy was a little sassy. Like, I mean, there's been sassy rumors about Diddy since I was in middle school and I am 41 years old. I mean, that's like, like if you want to set the case for Diddy was the master to emasculate all these black men in the industry, that's definitely a conversation. He was definitely a master to prey on young black artists or even young artists who wanted to make it, right? And he was just, I think that he was a sacrificial. I really think that they used Diddy for these rituals, right? I look at Justin Bieber. I can't even look at stories. I can't even look at that baby. I can't even look at that baby. I can't. Like, I feel so bad for that little boy. The way that he was pretty much ushered to Diddy, bro. These dudes are monsters. And it's like you can't feel too bad for a monster, but you can kind of still look in between, the lines and say, damn, this dude, is they doing a lot with this dude? What is this reason? It's just not because of a Cassie video. I think we were supposed to get desensitized by the Cassie video so that they could just pile up all these things on Diddy and we would just believe it because we saw something so horrific. But when you step back, it looks like this brother is being set up and taken down. It looks like this is organized. This is an organized takedown. It's an organized takedown. This dude has been getting away with this stuff for years, for decades, right? It wasn't until he pissed off the wrong folks, called the wrong folks racist, sued the wrong folks, that they're like, pull out the whole catalog on his ass. And that's basically what they're doing. They're pulling out the whole catalog on Diddy. And I'm like, y'all act like these feds, and everybody always say the feds, they collect cases on you for years, right? I mean, even like I feel like, anybody who is starts to get an influence in the world, the feds are watching you, right? Make no mistake, the feds are watching anybody who starts to rise in power and influence, right? They start collecting stuff on you, collateral on you, all kinds of things, so that when you get too beside yourself or too big, they can come in and just start throwing things to discredit you, to bring you down, right? The feds have known about Diddy, but it was somebody higher up that basically said, ready, set, go on him. This man has been sheltered from all this crazy stuff that he's been doing all of these years, to me, up until he decided to go against a alcohol conglomerate owned by Vanguard and BlackRock. So Diddy messed up. He thought he could go against those big guys, and they were like, nah, dog, we'll take your whole empire down. We will take your whole empire down. But for me, let me know what you guys think, but this brother is on to something.
And guess what Diageo also got in this settlement? Full ownership of De Leon.
So when they settled, Diageo got full ownership of De Leon.
All y'all seem to care about is free house and baby oil.
So shout out to O'Shea for showing that this brother was pretty thorough, right? And we don't know if what he's putting together is true or connected or not, but it seems like it. It seemed like these are the people that Diddy pissed off. You look at this timeline. Look at the timeline. He sues this company, this major company, right? And then the next thing you know, the Cassie video drops out of nowhere. It's been around for years, by the way. That Cassie video has been around for years. And then all of a sudden, it's leaked, right? And now we get to see him acting like a grotesque monster, right? And this is all to mask over the fact that, hey, Diddy went after the wrong people. He tried to sue the wrong people, right? He really just tried to sue the wrong people, and they were powerful enough to pull out their Fed buddies and say, I want y'all to drop everything y'all can on him. That's basically what we're seeing with Diddy. The feds are dropping everything that they've been collecting on this man throughout his career, right? And some people aren't shocked because the rumor mill has been the rumor mill. Like, I remember when I was in middle school, it was rumors that Diddy had Wendy Williams jumped because Wendy was actually revealing these freak off parties then, and she got her behind beat by some folks from Diddy's camp because of that, supposedly, allegedly. But Wendy Williams was speaking on these freak offs, this gay, this homosexual, stuff that he was doing. And I even think that people kind of shortchanged Mace. I think people really didn't listen to a lot of stuff that Mace was saying when he was coming out some years ago. We didn't hear Brother Mace. We didn't hear him. I hear you now, Mace. We get the subliminals now. We get the subliminals. All right. I believe that Wendy called Diddy and JC gay on air. Right. And remember, they gave her the business. Wendy got her behind Wood because of that. Right. And that shows you how protected some of this ritual secret party stuff is. This is not something that we all should know about. So if Wendy Williams was the last person to find out about a Diddy gay party, but it didn't serve her well because that news didn't really go too far. Like, all we really focused on was Wendy got her behind Wood for saying it. It's all government involvement and control. I believe it. I definitely believe it. I believe it. I believe it. But y'all let me know what y'all think about what this brother said. Check out, if you want to hear this video again, go to the Celebrity Junk channel. Look at 50 Cent Does the Unthinkable. Now, there's one more thing in this video that I want to call out. The deal that Puff got with Diageo, supposedly, allegedly, that deal was supposed to go to 50 Cent, right? And I felt like Puff and 50 never really cared for each other, but supposedly Puff took that deal from 50. And hey, so what happened when you steal from your brothers? This is what happened when you steal from your brothers. It's like everybody can eat, right? Some people want to eat more than other people, but everybody can eat. But let me see if we can get that part.
Let me deal with what the brother is saying here, okay? Now, 50
Yeah, let's go to 50 Cent. Go ahead, O'Shea. Tell us about it.
Cent is going to come out with a Netflix documentary.
Now, 50 Cent got a whole Netflix documentary coming out about Diddy. Like, why?
Basically to destroy P. Diddy. There is it's a rumor that I'm not sure if
and I'm not going to support this Netflix thing that 50 Cent is doing, because, Diddy needs to, I'm going to watch this brother fall, right? But I'm not going to watch, 50 Cent sabotage his own brother. So I won't be supporting that.
It was substantiated because,
the brother's already being sabotaged. Why you got to do all this extra stuff?
A kind of cognac deal or kind of drink deal. Shannon Sharp got an alcohol beverage. All of them do. Now, the word on the street is Diageo wanted to give this to 50 Cent. 50 Cent was ready to become the brand ambassador or going to this certain level of partnership with Diageo. And then Diddy basically player hated on him and stopped all of it. Okay. Now, this is one of the reasons in theory that 50 Cent has an issue with Diddy.
So Diddy was just gatekeeping people's success, stepping on people's flowers. So I don't feel bad for the brother, right? I'm not gonna believe every single thing about this brother. I will not. I will not believe everything about this brother. I don't think he's innocent of everything that's been piled up on him, but I don't think he's guilty of everything that's been piled up on him. I think he went after the wrong people, screwed over the wrong people, and this is what a fall from disgrace look like, right? What y'all think about this? It's interesting that people in this chat are saying that they don't feel like Cassie is as innocent. That is very, very interesting to me. And I'm actually glad that some people actually think that way because I'm one of those people. I believe people who are victims of things, right? But I'm not in the mindset of believing all victims because I do think that some people who play the victim card can be leveraged, right? You see, when they're trying to take down some of these celebrity men, the first thing they'll do is get a bunch of women and say that they done sexually assaulted them, come out of nowhere, right? So I don't believe all victims just because I feel like victims have been leveraged, right? But I definitely, I don't know, I don't feel like, I think Cassie, she was working with the feds. Like the Cassie was really just a means to an end to kind of short squeeze him. This is a short squeezing of Diddy. And one thing this brother didn't tell us is what that settlement between Diddy and Diageo looked like. We know that Diageo walked away with the Deleon brand, but what did Diddy walk away with? How much money did Diddy walk away with? Because that matters. Because if they're pissed that they had to give that money up to Diddy in a settlement, of course they're going to coordinate to try to short squeeze him. Think about it. If Diddy made 70 billion for Ciroc and he went even harder with Deleon, imagine how many billions Deleon actually made Diageo. So I'm thinking to myself that Diddy still walked away with billions from that settlement, even if he didn't have the Deleon brand anymore. And I think this brother is getting short squeezed out of that settlement money. I think that's what it is. They're short squeezing him out of that settlement money. So they're bringing up they're like, open the Diddy file. Open the Diddy file, y'all. And they just piling it up on that man. Diddy is gone, people. Everybody keeps saying that Diddy is dead. Diddy is gone. We don't know if he dead or not. We just gonna pray. Anybody see Diddy since he got apprehended by these folks? Anybody have anybody seen Diddy? Put like a 2 in the chat if you've actually seen a physical Diddy since he's been apprehended. I mean, if he's dead, I mean, do they gotta pay him if he's dead? Of course they have to pay him. That's still settlement money to go to his thing. But we know he's in jail, but is he in jail? Has anybody physically saw him? I mean, we don't even got no Diddy's lawyers on the mic talking about how his client is doing. Where's Diddy's lawyer? Who is Diddy's lawyer? And can we get an update from Diddy's lawyer as to how his client is doing behind closed bars? Anything? No? Who's your favorite little rascal? You mean like Alfalfa and Spanky? You must be in my age group. What you know about the Little Rascals? Even though Little Rascals came out way before me, I caught on Little Rascals when they did the remake, and I was a little kid when it was in the movie. But let's see. Yeah, Diddy and that baby oil. That's crazy. But like, here's the thing. Who said it? There was a chancellor from some country. She was talking about Jeffrey Epstein, and she said everybody knew what it was when you were hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein. Same thing with Diddy. When you get to these upper echelon, high profile parties, right? Most people know what it is. most people know what it is, right? Most people know what it is. And even if you don't know what it is, there, like, you hear some of these celebrities talk, right? There's the party and then there's the after party, right? Diddy has said this more than once in his song. He was like, it's the party and then the after party, right? Some of these celebrities opted not to go to the after party. So maybe some of them weren't, like, even though I went to a Diddy party, it may not have been an after party Diddy party where they were waxing each other up and lathering each other up like soap. You know what I mean? So you got to give people concessions that, some of these people, they're like, oh, we see, pictures of Oprah at a Diddy party and they're all dressed up ritzy and stuff. It's like, you know, where's the weirdness here, right? I'm seeing a lot of pictures of people at Diddy parties, and I'm like, I don't see anything weird going on in these pictures. These people are dressed really nice. You know, what are we supposed to be looking at here, right? Because let's just face it, it's just like the Rock Nation lunches, right? Those are very, after five ritzy events. You know what I mean? But again, that was the party. Then there's the after party, right? And a lot of those people weren't rocking with Diddy like that. And I think that even if you see a celebrity in one of those pictures, it's like, and they just sitting up there having a good time at a party, I don't think it's fair to, like, assume that they were doing the same things that other people were doing. I really don't think that is fair. You said, I blame Diddy's mother for not being a positive role model. You know, I will say that. I was actually looking at a documentary on his mother, and, I'm sure he got his tactics from her. I'm sure he got his tactics from her. I don't know what it is about Diddy's mom. I don't know. She comes off as like one of those. I don't even know what you would call a criminal black mother or anything. But that's what she comes off to me. To all you artists here, nope, we ain't doing that. But anyways, y'all, let me know. Check out this video. I think we know kind of what the catalyst is for why this brother might be getting some of this heat, right? Again, I would be very interested in knowing what the settlement amount was with Diageo and Diddy for Deleon, right? Because again, if Diddy turned over the Ciroc brand where it was at 70 billion and Deleon was actually doing just as well, that brother walked out of that settlement with some billions. Some billions that company did not even want to be paying him. And so that's what I got for you guys today. Thanks for riding with me on this. I pray for everybody, pray for everybody, pray for everybody. Sinners, people like Diddy, they make their bed and they have to lie in it, right? So I'm not being sympathetic to this man about what he's going through, but I'm not going to sit here and just accept every single thing that they're piling on his brother, narrating about this brother, especially because of some of these narrations. I'm like, if we don't start looking at the non-black folks doing the same damn thing, it's like, this is why some of this stuff I can't even hear, because it seems like a big takedown of the black celebrities that it's like, I'm checking in, sparsely. I have zero opinion about Diddy. I don't think that, I always thought he was an evil, conniving brother, even before all of this. My opinion hasn't changed about him. But like I said, I don't think all these charges are legit. So you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye.